Santa, my brother told you last year someone was coming for us. You didn't believe him. Now he's gone, and Friday they're taking me for $150,000. Please, I don't want to disappear like Tommy.
Marcus Doc Holloway's hands froze on the candy cane bowl. The 7-year-old girl on his lap, blonde braids, oversized jacket, trembling, had just shattered 9 years of playing mall Santa with one whispered sentence. Behind her, a man in an expensive suit scrolled through his phone, smiling. The same smile he'd worn last Christmas when another child had sat here. A child who'd vanished 3 weeks later. Doc had failed that boy. He wouldn't fail this one. Before we continue, please hit that subscribe button right now. This story gets darker, more shocking, and you need to see how it ends. And comment below. Tell me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far Maya's story travels, because somewhere in your town, there's a child who needs someone to listen. Now back to that moment that changed everything. Doc's heart slammed against his ribs. The little girl staring up at him had eyes that belonged to someone 3 times her age. Eyes that had witnessed things, lost things, survived things. "What's your name, sweetheart?" His voice came out steady. Years of combat medicine in Iraq had taught him that much. Never let them see you panic.
"Maya Chen. I'm 7.
She glanced toward the man with the phone.
"That's my stepfather, Mr. Pace. He's the principal at Milford High School. Everyone loves him."
The way she said it, flat, rehearsed, like she'd been taught exactly how to introduce him, made Doc's skin crawl. "Maya, I need you to tell me again what you just said. About your brother." She reached into her jacket pocket. For a terrible second, Doc thought she might pull out something dangerous. Instead, she withdrew a smartwatch, one of those kids' models with GPS tracking.
"His name was Tommy. Tommy Chen."
He sat right here last Christmas. December 23rd at 4:47 p.m. Maya's voice dropped even lower.
He told you bad people were coming. You smiled and gave him a candy cane and told him not to worry.
Doc's vision blurred. He remembered. God help him, he remembered. A 9-year-old boy, too thin, wearing a jacket 2 sizes too big. The kid had clutched Doc's Santa coat and whispered,
"Santa, what do you do when the bad people live in your house?"
And Doc, still drowning in grief from losing his wife Sarah 6 months earlier, still going through the motions of this Santa gig because it was something Sarah had loved watching him do, had patted the boy's head and said, "Just talk to your parents, buddy. They'll keep you safe." 3 weeks later, the boy was gone. Officially listed as a runaway, gone to live with his biological father in Oregon. Doc had seen the news story, hadn't thought twice about it. "I remember Tommy," Doc said quietly. "They sold him." Maya's hand tightened on the smartwatch. "For $150,000 to a place in Montana. They said it was a school, but Tommy called it a factory. He had to work on machines. He got burned." Her voice cracked. "I have proof." She pressed play on the smartwatch. The audio quality was terrible, recorded through fabric, muffled, distant. But the voice that came through made every nerve in Doc's body light up. "The girl is ready. 7 years old, healthy, compliant. Same arrangement as the boy." Doc recognized that voice. The man standing 8 feet away, scrolling through what looked like a sports betting app. Principal Gerald Pace. The recording continued. A different voice, female, professional. "And the timeline? December 26th, day after Christmas, 7 p.m., Riverside Warehouse District, Dock 7. I'll bring her for last-minute shopping. You handle the transfer from there." "Payment terms?" "Same as before. $150,000 cash. Half now, half on delivery.
And the younger one? The infant? Lily goes in January, 18 months old. Your contact said younger placements are worth more. $200,000 for her. Doc's hand moved, pure instinct, pure training, and made a signal. 3 fingers. Point. Hold. Across the fake snow wonderland of Santa's village, a man dressed in an elf costume straightened. Vincent Snake Rodriguez, 62 years old, Vietnam veteran, 6 feet 1 inch of wire-lean muscle under those ridiculous green tights. He clocked the signal, locked onto the man with the phone. Doc leaned closer to Maya. Who else knows about this recording? My sister Jade. She's 13. She helped me hide the watch. Maya's fingers clutched the device like a lifeline. She told me to find you. She said last year when Tommy disappeared, you were the Santa. She said maybe you'd listen this time. The accusation in those words hit harder than any IED blast Doc had survived. I'm listening now, Maya. I swear to God, I'm listening. Friday, December 26th. That's when he's selling me. Her voice stayed eerily calm. To people named the Coulters. They live in Connecticut. They already gave him half the money, $75,000. Jade found the bank deposit on his computer. And your mother? Where is she? Maya's face went blank. Mommy died 8 months ago. Mr. Pace said it was an accident. Pills. But Jade heard him talking to a lady doctor about how they handled the Lin problem. That was Mommy's name. Lin Chen. Doc's blood went cold. Behind Maya, Gerald Pace looked up from his phone, started walking toward them. Maya, sweetheart, I need you to do something very brave for me right now. Doc kept his voice gentle, kept the Santa smile in place. When your stepfather gets here, I need you to act normal. Can you do that? She nodded. Good girl. Now, do you have anyone safe? Anyone who could take you and your sisters if something happened to Mr. Pace? Grandma Wei, Mommy's mom. But Mr. Pace won't let her visit. He says she's too old, too confused. Maya glanced back. He's coming. Doc did something then that he hadn't done in 9 years of playing Santa. He took off his Santa hat and placed it on Maya's head. The gesture looked playful, grandfatherly. But underneath, he pressed something into her hand, a business card from his pocket. That's my real number, not Santa's, mine. If anything changes before Friday, you call that number, day or night. Understand? Having fun up there, pumpkin? Gerald Pace's voice was warm honey, pure, practiced charm. Maya transformed. Her shoulders hunched, her voice went small and sweet. Yes, Daddy. Santa's really nice. That's my good girl. Pace ruffled her hair. The gesture looked affectionate, but Doc saw how Maya flinched, saw how Pace's fingers tightened just slightly on her shoulder. Control disguised as love. Doc stood, towering over Pace. Even at 58, even playing Santa, Doc was 6 feet 4 inches and carried himself like the Marine medic he'd been for 22 years. Beautiful daughter you have there, Mr. Pace. Thank you. She's my world. Pace's smile never wavered. All 3 of my girls are. I'm sure they are. Doc handed Maya down, watching the micro-expressions. The way she kept her eyes down. The way she held herself rigid when Pace touched her. You take good care of them now. Always. Pace was already turning away, shepherding Maya toward the mall exit. Come on, sweetheart. Ice cream time. Your favorite. Doc watched them disappear into the Christmas shopping crowds. Watched a respected high school principal, a pillar of the community,
blend seamlessly with other holiday shoppers. Watched a 7-year-old girl who'd just begged Santa for help walk away in shoes that were too small. Hand-me-downs from a brother who'd been sold like livestock. The second they were out of sight, Snake was there.
Talk to me, Doc. Child trafficking. 5 days until the sale.
Doc's voice came out flat, cold. The voice he'd used in combat when the wounded were too far gone, and all you could do was make them comfortable. I need every brother within 50 miles at the shop. Now. Snake didn't ask questions, just pulled out his phone. Doc moved fast, ripped off the Santa coat, revealing the faded Marine's insignia on his shirt underneath. Signaled to the other elves, 4 more veterans who worked security at the mall, all of them brothers from his motorcycle repair shop. Gerald Preacher Williams, 55, former JAG lawyer turned legal aid advocate. He approached first. How bad?
Murder. Trafficking. Systematic sale of children.
Doc's hands were shaking now that the adrenaline was hitting.
The 9-year-old who went missing last Christmas? Tommy Chen? He's alive, being held in a labor facility in Montana. And his 7-year-old sister is scheduled for sale in 5 days.
Preacher's face went gray.
Jesus Christ.
Not Jesus, us. We're what she's got. Doc grabbed his leather jacket from the back room. I need you to start pulling records. Every case you can find on Gerald Pace, every child who's gone missing from his school district in the last 5 years, every... His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Doc answered.
Mr. Holloway?
A young voice, shaking but determined.
This is Jade Chen, Maya's sister. I'm the one who recorded our stepfather. I'm the one who told her to find you.
Jade, are you safe right now?
I'm at the library. Gerald thinks I'm studying.
A pause.
I have more evidence. Bank statements, emails, text messages between Gerald and someone called Broker K. And I found something else. Something about our mom.
Tell me.
The night she died, the official report said accidental overdose, but I found her medical file on Gerald's computer. The doctor who signed her death certificate? Dr. Raymond Vance.
He works at the county coroner's office.
Jade's voice hardened.
His wife is Dr. Patricia Vance. She's the school psychologist who evaluated Tommy before he disappeared. She's the one who recommended his alternative placement.
Doc's mind raced. A network. Not just one predator, but a network. Jade, I need you to send me everything you have. Every file, every recording, every piece of evidence. Can you do that?
Already done. I uploaded everything to a secure cloud folder the day I recorded Gerald. I'll text you the link.
She hesitated.
Mr. Holloway, are you really going to help us? Because the police didn't listen. CPS didn't listen. My teacher didn't listen. Everyone believes Gerald because he's a principal, because he's respected.
Doc thought of Sarah, his wife who'd died running into a burning school bus because 3 kids were still trapped inside, who'd made him promise, in those final moments in the hospital, that he'd never stop fighting for people who couldn't fight for themselves. He'd broken that promise last Christmas when Tommy Chen sat on his lap and whispered for help. He wouldn't break it again. I'm going to help you, Jade, but I need you to do something for me. I need you to keep Maya and baby Lily safe until Friday. Can you do that?
I've been doing it for 8 months, since Mommy died.
Her voice cracked.
I'll keep doing it.
Good girl. Stay smart, stay safe, and if anything changes, if Gerald moves early, if you feel threatened, you call me immediately.
The line went dead. Doc turned to find 8 men standing in the mall's back corridor. Veterans, all of them. Brothers from his shop. Men who'd served in Iraq, Afghanistan, Vietnam. Men who'd seen the worst humanity had to offer and come home determined to be better. Snake spoke first. How many kids? At least 3 from this family. Unknown how many total. Doc pulled up the cloud link Jade had just sent, started scrolling through files. But we're about to find out. Thomas Wire Sullivan, 41, IT specialist with skills that bordered on hacking, leaned over Doc's shoulder. Jesus, this guy's got spreadsheets, client lists, payment schedules. Wire's face went white. Doc, there are names here, dozens of names. Children, buyers, facilitators. How long until you can trace all of this? Give me 3 hours. You have 2. Doc looked around at his brothers. Gerald Pace thinks he's untouchable. Principal, community leader, respected professional. He thinks his credentials make him invisible. He's wrong. Raymond Hammer Mitchell, 44, former combat medic, stepped forward. What's the play? We have 5 days until Maya's scheduled sale. In that time, we need to do 4 things. Doc counted on his fingers. 1. Protect Maya, Jade, and baby Lily. 2. Locate Tommy in Montana and verify he's alive. 3. Identify every person in this trafficking network. 4. Build a case so airtight that when we hand it to the FBI, Gerald Pace and everyone who helped him never see daylight again. And if the FBI won't move fast enough? Snake's voice was hard. Doc met his eyes. Then we make sure that on December 26th, when Gerald Pace shows up at Riverside Warehouse with Maya, he's walking into a trap with 47 Marines, Army Rangers, and Vietnam vets waiting for him. 47? Preacher raised an eyebrow. I'm calling in every chapter within 200 miles. Doc's voice dropped. Because last Christmas, a 9-year-old boy sat on my lap and asked for help, and I failed him. I failed him because I was too broken over losing Sarah to pay attention, too buried in my own grief to hear a child screaming for help. He looked at each man in turn. Tommy Chen is alive. Maya Chen is not getting sold. Baby Lily is not getting trafficked, and every single child in Gerald Pace's network is coming home. That's not a goal. That's a blood oath. Snake nodded slowly. What do you need first? Get me eyes on Gerald Pace's house. I want to know every time he breathes wrong. Wire, you start tracing that network. Find out who Broker K is, where Tommy's being held, who the buyers are. Preacher, you start building the legal framework. I want charges ready the second we have proof. And you? Hammer asked. Doc looked at his phone. At the photo Jade had just texted. Maya, Tommy, and baby Lily together, 6 months before their mother died. 3 kids who should have been safe, should have been protected. I'm calling FBI Special Agent Lisa Moreno. She's Preacher's former colleague, specialized in trafficking cases. If anyone will move fast on this, it's her. He paused. And then, I'm going to visit someone. Who? Wei Chen, Maya's grandmother, the one Gerald Pace has been keeping away from those kids for 8 months. Doc's jaw tightened. Because I'm willing to bet she knows something. And I'm willing to bet she's been trying to tell someone, but nobody's listening. The men dispersed. Within 15 minutes, the mall Santa station was shut down. The back room transformed into a command center. Laptops appeared, secure phones, maps of Milford Township, Montana, Connecticut. Doc sat in the corner, staring at the recording device Maya had left behind, tucked into his Santa coat pocket when Gerald wasn't looking. He pressed play one more time. Same arrangement as the boy. $150,000. Clean transfer. No complications. And you're certain about the mother? No interference? Lynn's handled, Accidental overdose. Case closed. No one questions a grieving widower.
Excellent. The Coulters are very pleased with the previous acquisition. They're quite looking forward to... Doc stopped the recording.
His hands were shaking with rage, so pure it felt like drowning. Sarah's voice echoed in his memory. The last thing she'd said before the morphine took her.
Promise me you'll never stop being the good guy, Marcus. Even when it's hard. Even when it hurts. Especially then.
He'd nodded. Promised. And then spent a year drowning in grief instead of living up to that promise. But Maya Chen had given him a second chance. Tommy Chen had given him redemption. His phone buzzed. Wire.
Doc, you need to see this. I traced broker Kay's communications. Her real name is Catherine Brennan, former CPS director, fired 5 years ago for corruption.
Wire's voice was tight.
She's been running this network across 7 states. 34 documented children sold in 4 years. And Doc, one of them was my niece. 3 years ago. We never found her.
The room went silent. We're going to find her now, Doc said quietly. We're going to find all of them. He stood, grabbed his leather jacket, headed for the door. Snake called after him. Where are you going? To visit a grandmother who's been silenced for 8 months. To tell her that her granddaughter asked Santa for help. Doc turned back. And to promise her that this time, Santa's actually going to deliver. The door slammed behind him. On the laptop screen, Wire's fingers flew across the keyboard, tracing digital breadcrumbs across state lines. Preacher was already on the phone with FBI agent Moreno, laying out the case in crisp legal terms. Hammer coordinated with the Montana chapter, preparing for a potential rescue operation. And in a library 6 blocks away, 13-year-old Jade Chen sat at a computer terminal, uploading the final piece of evidence she'd been too scared to share until now. A video. Recorded through a floor vent. The night her mother died. Showing Dr. Raymond Vance injecting something into Lin Chen's arm, while Gerald Pace held her down. Showing Lin's eyes going wide with terror and understanding in those final seconds. Showing Gerald checking her pulse, nodding to Vance and saying, "Make it look like an overdose. I need that insurance money by next week." Jade's hands shook as she attached the file to the cloud folder. Then she texted Doc. "I have proof they murdered my mother. I've had it for 8 months. I was too scared to show anyone. I'm not scared anymore." At a traffic light 3 miles away, Doc read the message, pulled over, watched the video, and made a decision that would change everything. He dialed a number he hadn't called in 3 years. The phone rang 4 times. "This is Agent Moreno." "Lisa, it's Marcus Holloway, Preacher's friend." Doc's voice was steady now, cold, certain. "I need to report a homicide, a trafficking network, and a scheduled child sale in 5 days. And I need you to trust me when I say that if you don't move on this immediately, a 7-year-old girl named Maya Chen is going to disappear on December 26th, and we'll never find her." "I'm listening." "Good. Because we have 5 days to take down a principal, a psychologist, a coroner, a trafficking broker, and everyone who helped them. 5 days to save 3 kids and find 34 more. 5 days to make sure the monsters who hide behind credentials and community respect face justice." He pulled back onto the road, heading toward Wei Chen's address. "And Lisa, we're not waiting for warrants. We're not waiting for bureaucracy. We're building you an airtight case, and on December 26th at 7 p.m., you're going to have 47 veterans and every piece of evidence you need to put these people away forever."
"Marcus."
5 days, Lisa. A little girl asked Santa for help. I failed her brother last year. I'm not failing her." He hung up. The dashboard clock read 6:47 p.m., December 21st. 5 days until Maya's scheduled sale, and Doc had just declared war on every person who'd helped destroy the Chen family. Behind him, in the mall's back room, Wire discovered something that made his blood run cold. The Montana facility where Tommy was being held? It wasn't just a labor operation. It was a training facility. Training children to be compliant, obedient, prepared for placement with buyers who wanted more than just workers. And Maya, with her quiet voice and her rehearsed responses and her 2 small shoes, she'd been in training for 8 months, ever since her mother died. Wire grabbed his phone, dialed Doc. "We need to move faster. Gerald's not just selling Maya. He's been preparing her, breaking her, getting her ready for whatever the Coulters want." Doc's voice came back hard as iron. "Then we end this. Now. Tonight we start hunting, and we don't stop until every child is home and every monster is in chains." The line went dead. In a house on Creekside Drive, Maya Chen sat at the dinner table eating spaghetti she couldn't taste, while Gerald Pace smiled and talked about Christmas plans. In her pocket, hidden where he couldn't find it, was Santa's business card. And for the first time in 8 months, Maya believed she might actually survive to see Christmas. Because this time, someone was listening. This time, Santa was real. And Santa was a Marine who didn't leave anyone behind. Wei Chen's apartment was in the old part of Milford, 3rd floor walk-up, the kind of building where the stairs creaked and the hallway smelled like 20 different dinners cooking at once. Doc took the steps 2 at a time, his phone already buzzing with updates from Wire. He ignored them. This conversation needed to happen face-to-face. The woman who answered the door was 72, but looked older. Gray hair pulled back tight, hands that trembled slightly, eyes that had cried themselves dry months ago. "Mrs. Chen, my name is Marcus Holloway. Your granddaughter Maya came to see me today." Wei's face crumpled.
"Is she hurt? Did he—"
"She's alive. She's smart. And she asked me for help." Doc kept his voice gentle. "Can I come in?" 5 minutes later, they sat at a kitchen table covered in papers. Court documents, police reports, letters to CPS that had gone unanswered. Wei's hands shook as she poured tea neither of them would drink.
"I tried to tell them," she whispered. "After Lynn died, I knew. I knew it wasn't an accident. My daughter didn't take pills. She didn't drink. She worked 2 jobs to take care of those babies."
"What happened when you reported it?"
"Police said I was a grieving mother, confused. CPS said Gerald showed them proof Lynn had depression, medication prescribed by Dr. Vance. They said I was interfering with his grief process."
Wei's voice broke.
"Then Tommy disappeared. I went to the police again. They said Tommy ran away to find his biological father."
"I said Tommy was 9 years old. He wouldn't run. They said Gerald had documentation, custody transfer papers." Doc's jaw tightened. "Did you see these papers?" "Gerald showed me copies, signed by a judge, notarized, legal. He said Tommy wanted to go, that Lynn had arranged it before she died." Wei looked up, tears streaming.
"But Mr. Holloway, I found something 3 weeks ago, in Lynn's storage unit. She left me the key in her will, but Gerald didn't know about it."
She stood, disappeared into the bedroom, came back with a cardboard box. Inside, Lynn Chen's personal journal, bank statements, and a flash drive.
"I don't know how to use computers," Wei said, "but Lynn wrote in her journal that she'd recorded something, Something that proved Gerald was planning to hurt the children. She hid this flash drive 3 days before she died.
Doc's phone rang. Wire. Not now. Doc, I cracked Broker K's server. You need to hear this. Wire's voice was shaking. Catherine Brennan has been running this network for 4 years. 34 children documented. But here's the thing. She keeps records. Detailed records. Client preferences, payment schedules, delivery locations. And Doc? A pause. One of the buyers is in her files as a repeat customer. Harrison and Diane Coulter from Connecticut. They've purchased 3 children in 4 years. 3. Doc's blood went cold. 2 girls, 1 boy, all between ages 6 and 8. All listed as private adoptions through Brennan's fake consultancy. Wire's fingers clicked on a keyboard. I'm running their social media now. Found photos. The kids in their Christmas cards? They match missing persons reports from Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Illinois. Doc looked at Wei. Mrs. Chen, I need to see what's on that flash drive. Right now. 10 minutes later, Doc sat in his truck outside Wei's building, watching Lin Chen's final recording on his laptop. The video was shaky, filmed through a crack in a bedroom door. Lin's voice whispered, "It's November 3rd. Gerald just met with a woman of the coffee shop. They thought I was at work, but my shift ended early. I followed them." The camera focused on 2 people at a corner table. Gerald Pace and a woman in her 50s, professional clothes, expensive haircut.
"That's Dr. Patricia Vance," Lin's voice continued. "She's the school psychologist who evaluated Tommy 2 months ago. Said he had behavioral problems, recommended alternative placement. But I know my son. Tommy doesn't have problems. He's scared."
On screen, Patricia slid a folder across the table. Gerald opened it, nodded. Lin's whisper.
"She just gave him paperwork. I saw the top page. It said, Clearwater Academy, Montana, Enrollment Agreement. But when I asked Tommy's teacher about Montana schools, she said she'd never heard of any transfer."
The video jumped. Different day, same location. Now Gerald met with a man in a coroner's jacket.
"That's Dr. Raymond Vance," Lin whispered. "Patricia's husband. He works at the county morgue. Why is Gerald meeting with him?"
Doc watched Gerald hand Raymond an envelope. Cash, clearly. Raymond counted it, smiled, slid something back across the table.
"I think those are pills," Lin's voice shook. "I think Gerald is buying pills from a coroner. Why would he—"
The video cut off. Doc's hands were white-knuckled on the steering wheel. He forwarded the file to Wire, Preacher, and FBI agent Moreno with one word. Evidence. His phone rang immediately. Moreno.
"Marcus, where did you get this?"
"The victim's mother. Lin Chen recorded it 3 days before she died. You're looking at Gerald Pace meeting with Dr. Patricia Vance, school psychologist, and Dr. Raymond Vance, county coroner." Doc's voice was flat. "The same coroner who signed Lin's death certificate listing cause of death as accidental overdose."
Jesus Christ.
"We need to move on this, Lisa, tonight. I need warrants for—"
"I can't get warrants on a recording filmed through a door crack. Not without corroborating evidence. Any lawyer worth their degree will get this excluded as—"
"Then we get corroborating evidence." Doc pulled up Wire's email. Catherine Brennan, former CPS director, currently running a trafficking network across 7 states. Wire's got her server files, client lists, payment records, communications with Gerald Pace. That enough? Silence. Then,
"Send me everything. I'll call the regional task force. But Marcus, this is going to take time. We're talking multiple jurisdictions, federal charges, coordination with—"
"We don't have time. Maya's sale is scheduled for December 26th, Friday, 5 days from now."
"I understand, but we have to do this right, or—" Doc's phone beeped. Incoming text from Wire. Gerald just moved the sale. Thursday, 10 p.m. instead of Friday, 7 p.m. Intercepted encrypted message to broker K.
We lost 24 hours. Doc's vision went red. Lisa, sale just moved to Thursday night. 4 days. Can you move or not?
I'll have a team assembled by Wednesday. Best I can do.
Not good enough.
Marcus.
Wednesday gives us 1 day of prep. 1 day to position, surveil, and coordinate. That's cutting it too close. Doc started the engine. Here's what's happening instead. My people are going active tonight. We're going to surveil Gerald Pace, track his communications, document every move. You're going to coordinate with us in real time. And Thursday night, when Gerald shows up at that warehouse with Maya, you're going to be there with federal warrants and enough agents to lock down every exit.
That's not protocol.
Protocol failed 3 kids already. Protocol let a 9-year-old get sold into labor trafficking. Protocol let a mother get murdered and her death called an accident. Doc's voice dropped. I've got 47 veterans ready to roll. We can do this with you or without you. Your choice. Long pause.
With,
Moreno said quietly.
But Marcus, if this goes wrong...
It won't. He hung up, pulled back onto the road. His phone exploded with messages. Snake. Surveillance team in position outside Pace House. 2 men, rotating shifts. Preacher.
Legal brief started. Compiling charges. Trafficking, conspiracy, murder, fraud, child endangerment.
Hammer. Montana team ready. 12 men. Can execute rescue op within 18 hours. Wire. Found Tommy Chen's location. Clearwater Academy is a textile factory. 23 children being held, ages 8 to 16. Armed guards, locked dormitories. Doc pulled over, called Wire.
23 kids?
Confirmed. Cross-referenced facility photos with missing persons database. I've got positive IDs on 17 so far. The others are still running. Wire's voice cracked. Doc, one of them is my niece, Melissa Sullivan. Disappeared 3 years ago from Cleveland. She's 14 now.
She's been in that facility for 3 years.
The truck went silent. Wire, I'm going to Montana. Tonight. I'm getting her out. You're not going alone. Hammer's team leaves at midnight. You're with them. Doc's mind raced. But listen to me very carefully. We go in coordinated. FBI coordinates with Montana State Police. We do this legally, by the book, so these kids can come home and stay home. Understood? Understood. Doc drove to his motorcycle shop. The back room had transformed in 3 hours. 5 laptops running facial recognition software. Wall maps marked with red pins. Pace's house, the warehouse, Vance's office, Brennan's last known location. Photographs of 34 missing children arranged in rows. Preacher looked up from his laptop. Found the documentation trail. Dr. Patricia Vance has recommended alternative placements for 6 children in 3 years, all from single-parent or blended families. All evaluations contain identical language, copy-paste psychological assessments. She gets $20,000 per referral from Clearwater Academy. That's not a school. Doc stared at the photos. That's a recruitment fee. She identifies vulnerable kids, Gerald delivers them, Brennan facilitates the sale. And Raymond Vance covers up any inconvenient deaths, Snake added. He'd pulled Lin Chen's autopsy file. Look at this. Toxicology shows fentanyl overdose, but there's no evidence Lin ever had a prescription for opioids. No pharmacy records, no doctor visits, nothing. Because she didn't overdose, Doc pulled up the video Lin had recorded. She was murdered. Raymond gave Gerald the drugs. Gerald forced them into her system. Raymond signed the death certificate. Clean, simple.
Impossible to prove without witnesses.
"We have a witness," Jade Chen said from the doorway. Every head turned. The 13-year-old stood there in a library hoodie, backpack over one shoulder, face pale but determined.
"Jade, what are you doing here?" Doc stood. "Does Gerald know you left?"
He thinks I'm sleeping over at a friend's house. I told him I needed space after thinking about Mom.
She walked to the table, pulled out a tablet.
But I didn't come here to hide. I came to give you this.
She pressed play. The video was grainy, filmed through a floor vent, but the image was clear enough. Dr. Raymond Vance holding Lin Chen's arm. Gerald Pace standing behind her, hand over her mouth. A syringe. Lin's eyes, wide, terrified, understanding in those final seconds what was happening. Vance injecting something into her vein. Lin's body going slack. Gerald checking her pulse, nodding, saying, "Make it look like an overdose. I need that insurance money by next week. And make sure there's no investigation. Simple accident, simple burial." The video ended. The room sat in absolute silence. Jade's voice shook.
I recorded this through the heat vent in my bedroom. November 3rd, the night Mom died. I was supposed to be asleep, but I heard voices downstairs. I heard her trying to scream.
Tears streamed down her face.
I watched them kill my mother, and I didn't do anything. I was too scared, too young, too...
Doc crossed the room, knelt in front of her. "You were 13 years old, watching your mother being murdered. You did the only thing you could do. You survived. You protected your sisters. And you gathered evidence that's going to put both those men away for life.
But I should have...
You did everything right." Doc's voice was firm. "Everything. And now you're going to help us finish this." Jade wiped her eyes.
What do you need?
Wire spoke up. "Can you get back into Gerald's computer? We need his current communications with Broker K. He moved the sale to Thursday night, but we don't have the new location details."
Already done.
Jade pulled up a file on her tablet.
He changed the meeting place too. Not Riverside Warehouse anymore. Now it's the old Morrison Textile Factory on Route 9, Thursday, 10 p.m. Broker K will be there with the Coulters. Payment is now only $130,000 because Maya's been difficult lately.
Doc's jaw clenched. "Difficult how?"
She won't stop asking about Tommy. Gerald's been punishing her. Locked her in her room for 2 days last week with no food. Said she needed to learn obedience before the transfer.
Jade's hands shook.
I've been sneaking her food, but he knows. That's why he moved the sale up. He thinks Maya's going to run or tell someone.
"She already told someone," Snake said quietly. "She told Santa."
And now Santa's going to make good on his promise.
Doc stood, looked at his assembled team. 47 brothers, 4 days, 1 objective. We're going to protect these kids, expose this network, and make sure every monster involved faces justice. His phone buzzed.
Moreno. "I've got preliminary warrants approved for wiretaps on Gerald Pace, Patricia Vance, and Raymond Vance. Federal Trafficking Task Force is mobilizing. We'll have assets in position by Thursday afternoon." A pause.
"And Marcus? I found something. Catherine Brennan's financial records show she's been operating this network since 2018. But she didn't start it. She took it over from someone else." "Who?" "Still tracing. But whoever it was, they'd been running this operation for at least a decade before Brennan. We're not talking about 34 kids. We're talking about potentially hundreds." Doc closed his eyes. Hundreds of children. Hundreds of families destroyed.
Hundreds of Tommies and Mayas and Jades. "Find them," he said. "Find all of them." He hung up, turned to Jade. "I need you to do something incredibly brave. Can you go back home tonight? Act normal? Keep Gerald thinking everything's fine until Thursday?"
What about Maya and Lily?
Snake and Hammer are going to set up covert surveillance. If Gerald tries anything before Thursday, we'll know within 30 seconds. But we need him to think he's in control. We need him to show up at that factory Thursday night with Maya.
So you can catch him in the act.
Exactly. Jade nodded slowly.
Okay, but I want something in return.
Name it.
When you arrest him, I want to be there. I want him to see my face. I want him to know that I'm the reason he got caught.
Her voice hardened.
I want him to know that the daughter he thought was weak and stupid outsmarted him.
Doc looked at this 13-year-old who'd watched her mother die, who'd protected her sisters for 8 months, who'd gathered evidence that would bring down a trafficking network. Deal. Jade left 20 minutes later, driven back to her friend's house by Preacher. Doc watched her go, then turned to his team. "Wire, I need everything you can find on the Coulters. Every purchase, every communication, every child they've bought. Preacher, keep building the legal case. Snake, you and Hammer coordinate Montana rescue for tomorrow night. I want Tommy and those 23 kids out before Thursday." "And if Gerald notices Tommy's gone?" Snake asked. "He won't. As far as Gerald knows, Tommy's still in Montana being a good little worker. By the time he realizes Tommy's been rescued, he'll be in federal custody." Doc pulled up photos of the Morrison textile factory. "Thursday night, we're going to have every exit covered. FBI inside, veterans outside. Broker K shows up, the Coulters show up, Gerald shows up with Maya, and none of them leave except in handcuffs." His phone buzzed again. Unknown number. He answered. "Holloway?" Heavy breathing. Then a small voice.
Mr. Holloway, this is Maya. I'm using Jade's old phone she hid in my room.
"Mr. Pace locked me in the basement. He said I've been bad. He said if I don't behave, he's going to sell Lily too. Tonight, instead of January." Doc's blood ran cold. "Where's Lily now?"
With Dr. Vance. He took her this afternoon, said she needed a checkup. But Mr. Holloway, I heard him on the phone. He said if the buyer wants both of us, he can arrange it for extra money.
"Maya, listen to me very carefully. Where exactly are you?"
Basement, but the door's locked from outside. There's a tiny window, but I'm too small to reach it.
Doc was already moving, grabbing his jacket, signaling Snake. "Can you see the street from anywhere?"
There's a crack under the door. I can see the front hallway.
Good girl. I need you to watch that hallway. If Mr. Pace comes downstairs, you hide this phone immediately. Understand?
Yes.
We're coming to get you, but Maya, it has to be subtle. If we spook Gerald, he might run with Lily. So I need you to be patient just a little longer. Can you do that? A long pause, then, "Will you really come?" "I promise. On my wife's memory, on everything I believe in, I promise." "Okay." Her voice was so small. "I'll wait." The line went dead. Doc turned to find every man in the room staring at him. "Change of plans," he said. "Gerald's accelerating. He's got Lily with the Vances right now. If he's planning to sell both girls tonight, we can't wait until Thursday." "What's the play?" Hammer asked. Doc's mind raced through scenarios. Too early meant losing the sting operation, losing Broker K, losing the chance to catch everyone in the act.
But too late meant Maya and Lily disappeared tonight. His phone rang. Preacher. Doc, I just got a call from Officer Daniels, the cop who filed Tommy's runaway report. He wants to talk. Says his conscience is killing him. Says he took money from Gerald to close the case without investigation. How much money? $5,000. Doc's vision went red. Where is he? My office, 20 minutes. Tell him I'll be there in 10. And preacher, record everything. He hung up, looked at Snake. You're with me. Wire, keep monitoring Gerald's communications. The second he makes a move toward that basement, you call me. Hammer, get your Montana team ready to roll. We're extracting Tommy tonight, whether FBI coordination is ready or not. Copy that. Doc and Snake were halfway to Preacher's office when Wire called. Doc, Gerald just texted Broker K. Quote, both packages ready for delivery tonight. Buyer interested in pair? Can discount to $220,000 for both. End quote. Did Broker K respond? Yeah, she said, Coulters prefer one at a time. Keep infant on ice until original schedule. Deliver 7-year-old tonight as planned. Location change. Dr. Vance's residence, midnight. Doc checked his watch. 9:47 p.m. Just over 2 hours. Get FBI on the line. Tell Moreno we need tactical units at Vance's address by 11:30. This is happening tonight. On it. Doc pulled up to Preacher's office. Officer Dale Daniels sat in the waiting room, head in his hands, uniform wrinkled. He looked up when Doc entered. Mr. Holloway? You took $5,000 to close a missing child case. Doc's voice was ice. Talk fast, and talk honest, or you're not walking out of here without handcuffs. Daniel's face crumpled. Gerald said Tommy ran away. Said the kid had been talking about finding his biological father in Oregon. Said he'd tried to stop him, but Tommy left in the night. He showed me text messages from Tommy's phone saying goodbye. Did you verify those messages? No. Gerald said Tommy had taken his phone. Said he'd already filed a missing persons report but wanted it changed to runaway status so CPS wouldn't get involved. Daniels looked up. He said Lynn was unstable, that CPS would take the other kids if they investigated. He said he was trying to protect his family. And the $5,000? He said it was for my time, for handling the paperwork quickly, for keeping it quiet. He made it sound like a thank you, not a bribe. Daniel's voice shook. But I knew. Deep down, I knew it was wrong. I have medical bills. My daughter's in college. I needed the money. So I told myself Gerald was probably right, that Tommy had run away, that it wasn't my problem. Doc leaned close. That 9-year-old boy you decided wasn't your problem? He's been working in a labor factory for 14 months. Burned, starved, beaten. Because you took $5,000 and didn't do your job. Daniels broke, full sobbing, shoulders shaking. I know. God help me, I know. That's why I'm here. I'll testify. I'll give back the money. I'll resign. Whatever you need. Just, please let me help fix this. Preacher spoke from the doorway. Your testimony puts Gerald at the scene of a cover-up. Proves he knew Tommy didn't run away. That's conspiracy to traffic. I'll say whatever you need me to say. The truth. All of it. Doc's phone buzzed. Wire. Gerald just left his house, heading north on Maple. Looks like he's going toward the Vance residence. Doc checked the time. 10:13 p.m. Almost 2 hours early. He's moving ahead of schedule. Moreno, is FBI in position? Wire's voice. She says there's still 30 minutes out. She's requesting you hold position, wait for tactical support. Tell her we're out of time. Doc stood. Snake, get to Maya. Basement window, north side of Pace's house. Get her out, quiet and fast. Hammer, you're with me.
We're going to Vance's residence. Preacher, you stay here with Daniels. Keep recording his statement. Wire, track Gerald's every move. Doc, if we move without FBI backup, then we move without FBI backup. Doc's voice was final. I'm not letting an 18-month-old get sold tonight because we were waiting for proper procedure. He ran for his truck. Behind him, 47 phones lit up with the same message. Operation active. Protect the children. No one gets left behind. At 10:27 p.m., Snake cut through the window lock on the Pace House basement. Maya's face appeared in the darkness, eyes wide with hope and terror. It's okay, sweetheart. Santa sent me. Let's get you out of here. At 10:31 p.m., Doc's truck pulled up 3 houses down from the Vance residence. Through the window, he could see Dr. Patricia Vance holding baby Lily, bouncing her gently. The picture of a caring pediatrician with an infant patient. Except Lily wasn't a patient. She was merchandise. Doc's phone buzzed. Moreno. We're 8 minutes out. Do not engage. Repeat, do not. They've got an 18-month-old in there who's scheduled for sale in less than 2 hours. I'm engaging. He hung up, looked at Hammer. You ready? Been ready for 20 years. They approached the front door just as headlights swept into the driveway. Gerald Pace's BMW. Doc and Hammer pressed against the side of the house, watching through the window as Gerald entered, smiled at Patricia, reached for Lily. Everything's set, Gerald's voice carried through the thin walls. Broker K's bringing the buyer at midnight. Cash payment, clean transfer. By morning we'll have $100,000 to split, and this problem child will be someone else's headache. Patricia laughed. And the 7-year-old? Snake's handling it, delivering her to the secondary location. Different buyer, cleaner separation. By tomorrow, all 3 Chen brats will be gone, and we can finally close out Lynn's estate without interference. Doc's hand moved to his phone, texted Snake. Status? Response came immediately. Maya secure, en route to safe house. She's asking about Lily. Doc texted back. Tell her big sister's coming home too. 10 minutes. He looked at Hammer, nodded. They were about to move when FBI tactical vans screamed around the corner, 8 vehicles, lights blazing. Agent Moreno's voice over loudspeaker. This is the FBI. Gerald Pace, Dr. Patricia Vance, Dr. Raymond Vance. You are surrounded. Exit the residence with your hands visible. Inside the house, Gerald's face went white. He grabbed Lily, headed for the back door. Doc was already there, blocking the exit. Going somewhere, Principal Pace? Gerald froze. Recognized the Santa from the mall. His face twisted. You can't. I'm a principal. I have rights. You have no authority to. FBI has all the authority they need. Doc stepped aside as Agent Moreno and 4 tactical officers swarmed in. And I've got all the satisfaction I need watching you get what you deserve. Moreno pulled Lily from Gerald's arms. The baby cried, reaching back for the only father she'd ever known. It broke Doc's heart, that even monsters can make children love them. Gerald Thomas Pace, you are under arrest for human trafficking, conspiracy to commit murder, child endangerment, and about 15 other charges my people are still compiling. You have the right to remain silent. Doc stopped listening, pulled out his phone, called Snake. Maya secure? Safe and sound. Wei Chen just arrived. Grandmother and granddaughter reunion in progress. Tell Maya we got Lily. Tell her everyone's coming home. He hung up, watched FBI agents cuff Gerald, Patricia, and Raymond Vance simultaneously. Watched them get loaded into separate vehicles. Watched their perfect masks finally crack into the ugly truth underneath. His phone buzzed. Wire. Doc, Montana team just breached Clearwater Academy. 23 children extracted, all alive. Tommy Chen identified and secured. He's asking for his sisters. Doc closed his eyes, felt something release in his chest that had been clenched tight since last Christmas, when he'd failed that 9-year-old boy.
Tell Tommy his sisters are safe. Tell him Santa kept his promise this time. Will do. And Doc, my niece Melissa was in there. 3 years I've been looking for her. 3 years. She's coming home. The line went quiet, except for the sound of wire crying. Doc stood in the van's driveway, watching the FBI team's work, and thought about Sarah, about her last words, about promises kept and promises broken. He'd kept his promise tonight. But this wasn't over. Somewhere, Broker K was still out there. The Coulters were still out there, and according to Moreno's research, potentially hundreds of other children were still out there. This was just the beginning. But Wire's celebration lasted exactly 47 seconds before his voice changed.
Doc, we've got a problem. Broker K just pinged her phone. She knows. Gerald, Patricia, Raymond, all 3 arrests hit the police scanner simultaneously. She's running.
Doc was already moving toward his truck.
Where? Signal shows her heading east on I-70. She's got a 2-hour head start, minimum. FBI's issuing alerts to state police, but Doc... Wire's voice cracked.
Her server just went dark. She's wiping evidence. If we lose her, we lose the entire client list, every buyer, every child, every transaction.
Can you recover the data?
I downloaded her financial records and communication logs before she wiped, but the client database was encrypted separately. I'd need physical access to her backup drives to crack it.
Wire paused.
And, Doc, there's something else. Before the server went dark, I caught one final communication. Broker K texted someone. Paste network compromised. Execute Protocol 7. Liquidate all assets. That message went to 14 different numbers.
Doc's hands tightened on the steering wheel.
Liquidate assets. She's not talking about money. No, she's talking about the children.
Why told them to move or destroy evidence? We're talking about potentially dozens of children about to disappear even deeper. Get me those 14 numbers. Run every single one. Names, locations, everything.
Doc pulled onto the highway, pushing 80.
And Wire, call Moreno. Tell her we need immediate warrants for all 14. Tell her lives depend on it.
Already on it. The line went dead. Doc drove in silence for 3 miles, his mind racing through scenarios. Then his phone rang. Jade.
Mr. Holloway, something's wrong with Maya.
Doc's blood went cold. What do you mean, wrong?
We're at Grandma Way's apartment. Maya won't let go of Lily. She's just holding her, rocking back and forth, not talking. And when Grandma tried to take Lily to change her diaper, Maya screamed, like really screamed. I've never heard her make sounds like that.
Put me on speaker. Rustling, then Way's voice shaking.
Mr. Holloway, the baby needs changing, needs feeding. But Maya won't release her. She's going to hurt herself holding so tight. Don't try to take Lily away. Maya's been in survival mode for 8 months. She just watched her stepfather get arrested trying to sell her baby sister. Her brain is telling her that if she lets go, Lily disappears.
Doc kept his voice calm. Is there a bathroom in the apartment where Maya can see you the whole time?
Yes, right off the living room.
Good. Way, I need you to sit down on the floor next to Maya. Get at her eye level. Tell her you're going to help her take care of Lily, not take Lily away. Can you do that?
Yes.
Doc heard Way's voice, soft and gentle.
Maya, sweetheart, I'm not taking your sister. I'm going to help you take care of her. We'll do it together, okay? You and me. Sisters and grandmothers, We take care of each other."
A long pause. Then Maya's voice, so small.
"Promise you won't let them take her?"
"I promise. On your mother's memory. I promise." Rustling sounds. Then Jade.
"She's letting Grandma help. They're in the bathroom together. Mr. Holloway, is Maya going to be okay?"
"Eventually. But Jade, she's been traumatized for months. It's going to take time." Doc paused. "How are you holding up?"
"I watched my stepfather get arrested. I watched the woman who helped kill my mom get put in handcuffs. I should feel good, right? I should feel like we won."
"But you don't."
"I feel empty. Like there's this big hole where all the fear used to be, and I don't know what to fill it with."
Jade's voice broke.
"And I keep thinking about all the times I could have shown someone that video earlier. All the times I was too scared. If I'd been braver, maybe Tommy wouldn't have—"
"Stop. Right there." Doc's voice was firm. "You were 13 years old in an impossible situation. You did everything right. You protected your sisters, you gathered evidence, and you survived. That's not weakness. That's the definition of strength." "Then why do I feel like I failed them?" "Because you love them. And people who love always feel like they should have done more. But Jade, listen to me. Your brother is coming home. Your sisters are safe. Your grandmother has custody. And Gerald Pace is never going to hurt anyone again. That's because of you." Silence. Then quietly,
"When does Tommy get here?"
Doc checked his watch. "Montana team is driving through the night. They'll be there by morning. 6 a.m., maybe 7.
"Will he remember us? Will he remember me?"
The question broke Doc's heart. "I don't know, sweetheart. Tommy's been through trauma that would break most adults. But he's alive, and he's coming home. And that's what matters."
"Okay."
A pause.
"Mr. Holloway, thank you for listening when no one else would."
"Thank you for being brave enough to speak up." He hung up. 30 seconds later, Wire called back. "Got IDs on 12 of the 14 numbers. 2 are burner phones, still tracing. But Doc, the 12 confirmed contacts?" Wire's voice was tight. "They're all over the country. California, Texas, Florida, Maine, Arizona. And every single one has a history of child welfare involvement. Families who've adopted through private agencies, couples who've filed for custody of non-biological children, group homes with sketchy licensing. Send the list to Moreno. We need simultaneous raids." "Already sent. She's coordinating with regional FBI offices. But Doc, she said it's going to take minimum 48 hours to get warrants approved for all 12 locations. Different jurisdictions, different judges, different—" 48 hours is too long. Broker K told them to liquidate assets. Those kids have hours, not days."
"I know. That's why I did something that's probably illegal."
Doc almost smiled. "What did you do?"
"I sent anonymous tips to every local news station in those 12 cities.
Told them there's a breaking story about child trafficking networks. Gave them the addresses. Told them FBI raids are imminent. Every station is scrambling to get camera crews in position." "You're putting media pressure on the FBI to move faster. And making it harder for those 12 contacts to quietly disappear the children. Hard to liquidate assets when news vans are parked outside your house." Wire paused. "Moreno's going to be pissed." "Let her be pissed. You just saved lives." Doc's phone beeped. Incoming call from Hammer. "Doc, we're 2 hours outside Milford. Tommy's awake. He's asking questions." "What kind of questions?" "He wants to know if his mom is still alive. Wants to know if Maya and Lily and Jade are safe. Wants to know if we're really taking him home or if this is another transfer." Hammer's voice dropped. Doc, this kid has been lied to for 14 months. He doesn't trust anything we're telling him. Put him on. Rustling, then a small voice, wary and exhausted. Hello? Tommy, my name is Marcus. I'm a friend of your sister's. I'm the Santa from the mall last year. Do you remember me? Long silence. Then, you gave me a candy cane. You told me to talk to my parents. You didn't believe me. The accusation hit like a gut punch. You're right. I failed you. I didn't listen, and because of that, you spent 14 months in a place you should never have been. I can't change that, but I can tell you the truth now. Your sisters are safe. Maya and Lily and Jade are with your grandma Wei. Gerald Pace is in FBI custody, and we're bringing you home. People lie. Gerald lied. The facility supervisors lied. Everyone lies. You're right. People do lie. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let you talk to someone who won't lie to you. Someone who's been fighting for you since the day you disappeared. Doc texted Jade. Can you put Maya on the phone? Tommy needs to hear her voice. 30 seconds later, Maya's voice came through his speakers, small but clear. Tommy? Doc conferenced the calls. Tommy, your sister's on the line. Maya, tell your brother what happened tonight. Maya's voice shook. Tommy, Santa arrested Mr. Pace. He tried to sell me and Lily, but Santa and his friends stopped him. The FBI came. Mr. Pace is in jail. We're safe. We're really safe. Silence on the line. Then, Tommy, voice cracking. Maya? Is that really you? It's really me. And Jade's here, and Lily, and Grandma. We're all together. And they're bringing you home, Tommy. They're really bringing you home. A sound came through the phone that made every man in Hammer's vehicle go silent. Tommy Chen, 9 years old, who'd survived 14 months of forced labor and abuse, who'd been burned and beaten and broken, sobbing like his heart was shattering. I want to come home. Please, I just want to come home. You are coming home. 6 more hours, and you're home. Doc listened to the two siblings cry together across phone lines, separated by hundreds of miles, but connected by something that trafficking networks could never destroy. Family. Hope. Survival. He ended the call when their voices settled. Let them have their moment. Checked his GPS, still 90 minutes from Wei's apartment. His phone rang again. Moreno, and she was furious. Did you authorize Wire to leak addresses to media outlets? I didn't authorize anything, but I'm also not going to pretend I'm upset about it. Marcus, you just compromised 12 active investigations. You've created a media circus that could give defense attorneys grounds to claim. Those 12 investigations weren't active until 2 hours ago, when broker Kay sent out her liquidate message. You were going to take 48 hours for warrants while children disappeared. Wire bought us time. By breaking federal law. By saving lives. And if you want to arrest him for it, get in line. But right now, I need you to tell me what's happening with those 12 locations. Moreno was silent for a long moment. Then, grudgingly, local FBI offices are scrambling. The media attention means we can't wait for full warrants. We are executing emergency welfare checks at all 12 addresses within the next 4 hours. Good. Don't congratulate me. This is chaos. But Marcus, her voice softened. 3 of those addresses already yielded results. Florida office found 2 children locked in a basement, ages 6 and 8. Both match missing persons reports from 2 years ago.
Arizona found a 10-year-old boy who'd been reported as runaway from Nevada, and Maine.
She paused.
Maine found 4 children, different ages, different backgrounds, all living with a couple who claimed they were foster parents. Except they're not licensed for foster care. Never have been.
Doc's chest tightened. So that's 9 children recovered in 4 hours.
9 children who would have disappeared if Wire hadn't leaked those addresses. Moreno sighed. I'm not saying I approve of his methods, but I can't argue with results.
What about Broker K?
Still in the wind. State police spotted her vehicle abandoned at a rest stop outside Columbus. She's either got another vehicle waiting or she's on foot. We've got highway cameras searching, but she's smart. Former CPS director means she knows our procedures. Wire said she had backup drives, physical storage for the encrypted client database. If we can find those drives, we can crack the entire network. But Catherine Brennan is not going to lead us to them. She's going to run as far and fast as she can. Moreno paused. Unless we give her a reason to come back. Doc's mind raced. What are you thinking? Brennan's operation is built on secrecy and trust. Her clients pay premium prices because she guarantees discretion.
But in the last 4 hours, we've raided 12 of her contacts, recovered 9 children. That's not discreet. That's catastrophic failure. She'll want to protect her reputation, minimize damage. Exactly. And the only way she can do that is by eliminating anyone who can testify against her. Moreno's voice hardened. Marcus, we need to use Gerald Pace as bait. You want to dangle him in front of Broker K and hope she tries to eliminate him? I want to let it leak that Gerald's cooperating with FBI, that he's giving us names, locations, financial records, that he's our star witness. Moreno paused. Catherine Brennan will have 2 choices. Disappear forever and lose everything she's built, or eliminate the threat and try to salvage her network. That's using a human being as bait. That's using a child trafficker and murderer to catch the person who enabled him. I'm okay with that. Are you? Doc thought of Maya's voice on the phone, of Tommy sobbing that he just wanted to come home, of Jade's question, when does Tommy get here? Do it. Already in motion. We're transferring Gerald to county lockup tomorrow morning. High-profile transport, lots of media coverage. And we're going to make sure the right people know that he's talking. And if Broker K takes the bait? Then we'll be ready. Moreno's voice was steel. But Marcus, I need something from you. I need your team to stand down. No more vigilante operations, no more media leaks, no more... Can't do that. Marcus, we've got 47 veterans who've invested everything into protecting these kids. You're asking them to sit on their hands while you run official channels. That's not happening. Doc's voice was firm. But here's what I can promise. We'll coordinate with you. We'll share intelligence. We won't compromise your investigations. But we're staying active until every child from this network is home. Silence. Then Moreno, quietly. You know you're impossible, right? So I've been told. Fine. Coordinate. Don't compromise. And Marcus? That Florida rescue? The 2 kids in the basement? One of them is Sarah Morrison. She was taken from Ohio 2 years ago, age 6. Remember the Coulters, the couple who were supposed to buy Maya? Doc's blood ran cold. They already have her. Had her. She's in protective custody now, asking for her real parents. We've contacted the Morrison family. They're driving to Florida tonight. Moreno paused. That little girl spent 2 years believing her name was Charlotte Coulter, believing Harrison and Diane Coulter were her parents. She has no memory of her real family. It's going to take months, maybe years, for her to understand what happened. But she's alive. She's safe. Because of you. Because of Wire.
Because of a team of veterans who decided to give a damn. Moreno's voice cracked. I've been doing this job for 15 years. I've seen a lot of trafficking cases, but I've never seen anything like this. The coordination, the speed, the desperation. That's what you're seeing. We're desperate to make up for every time we failed these kids. Then keep that desperation going, because we're not done. Moreno's voice hardened. I just got word from our California office. They raided the address Wire provided. Found 3 children, ages 7, 9, and 12. All 3 were purchased through Brennan's network. But here's the thing. The couple who had them? They're both attorneys. High-powered, well-connected, politically active. They're already lawyering up, claiming this is a case of mistaken identity, that they have legal adoption papers. Let me guess. Adoption papers prepared by Dr. Patricia Vance. Close. Adoption papers prepared by someone named Evelyn Morrison. She's an attorney in Philadelphia, specializes in private adoptions, and according to Wire's data, she's processed documentation for 23 children over the past 6 years. Doc felt sick. 23? All with irregularities. Missing signatures, backdated notarizations, questionable custody releases. We're bringing her in for questioning, but Marcus, this network is bigger than we thought. It's not just Brennan. It's lawyers, doctors, coroners, school administrators, police officers. It's an infrastructure. How many children total? We're still compiling numbers, but conservatively, based on financial records Wire recovered, we're looking at somewhere between 80 and 100 children trafficked through this network over the past 6 years. The number hit Doc like a physical blow. 80 to 100 children. 80 to 100 Tommies and Mayas. 80 to 100 families destroyed. We're going to find them, he said. Every single one. I know. Because you're impossible. Moreno's voice softened. Get some rest, Marcus. Tomorrow's going to be brutal. She hung up. Doc drove in silence for 20 miles, processing everything. 80 to 100 children. A network spanning multiple states, multiple professions, multiple years. And at the center of it all, Catherine Brennan, former CPS director, the person who was supposed to protect children, instead selling them. His phone buzzed, text from Wei. Maya finally fell asleep, still holding Lily. Jade is sleeping in chair next to them. They look so small, Mr. Holloway. So breakable. Doc typed back. They're stronger than they look. They survived. That's what matters. Wei responded. When does my grandson arrive? 6 a.m., maybe earlier. Hammer's pushing hard. I don't have much. Small apartment. Not enough beds for 4 children. But I'll make it work. I have to make it work. You won't be alone. We've got resources. Money raised by the veteran community. We'll get you a bigger place, beds, whatever you need. Why are you doing this? You don't know us. These aren't your children. Doc stared at the question for a long moment, then typed, My wife died saving 3 kids from a burning bus. She died because she believed every child deserves someone willing to fight for them. I'm doing this because Sarah would have. Because Maya asked for help and I finally listened. Because Tommy sat on my lap last year and I failed him. Because every one of these kids deserves someone who gives a damn. Wei's response was simple. Your wife would be proud. Doc's vision blurred. He pulled over, sat in his truck on the side of the highway, and let himself brake for exactly 90 seconds. Let himself feel the weight of Sarah's loss, the guilt of failing Tommy, the overwhelming responsibility of trying to save 80 to 100 children. Then he pulled himself together, started the engine, got back on the road. Because Maya and Jade and Tommy and Lily needed him focused. Because 9 children had been recovered tonight, and dozens more were still out there. Because Catherine Brennan was running, and the Coulters were still free, and this war was far from over. His phone rang. Wire. "Doc, I found her. Broker K. I found Catherine Brennan." "Where?" "That's the thing. She's not running. She's in Milford. She's been in Milford this whole time." Wire's voice was shaking. "Doc, she's parked outside Wei Chen's apartment building, right now. I'm watching her on traffic cameras. She's been sitting there for 20 minutes. Doc's blood turned to ice. "Get FBI there now. And Wire." "Already done. SWAT's 4 minutes out." "But Doc, why would she come back? Why would she risk—" "Because Wei's apartment is where the children are. Maya, Jade, Lily. If Brennan eliminates them, there are no witnesses, no testimonies, no case." Doc was already turning around, pushing 90. "She's not running. She's cleaning up loose ends." "What do I do?" "You call Snake. You call every brother within 10 miles, and you tell them to get to Wei's address right now. Because if Broker K gets into that building before SWAT arrives, those kids are dead." Doc ended the call, pushed the accelerator harder, watched his speedometer climb past 100. 4 minutes until SWAT arrived. 12 minutes until Doc could get there. And somewhere in that apartment building, 4 children slept, unaware that the woman who'd sold dozens of kids like them was sitting outside, deciding whether to eliminate the evidence or run. Doc's phone rang, Wei, and she was whispering.
"Mr. Holloway, someone's trying to open our door. I can hear them working on the lock. I called 911, but they said police are already coming, but I don't know if—"
"Wei, listen to me very carefully. Take the children into the bathroom, lock the door, put something heavy against it, and do not open it for anyone except FBI with badges. Do you understand?"
"The children are sleeping. I can't—"
"Wake them up. Right now. Move fast. You have maybe 60 seconds.
Oh God, okay."
Doc could hear her moving, hear her waking the girls, heard Maya's confused voice.
"Grandma, what's happening?" "We need to hide, sweetheart, right now. It's okay. Everything's okay. We just need to hide."
Through the phone, Doc heard the apartment door open, heard footsteps, heard a woman's voice, calm and professional.
"Mrs. Chen? I'm from Child Protective Services. There's been an incident. I need to take the children into emergency custody."
Wei's voice, shaking but firm. "Show me identification through the bathroom door."
"Mrs. Chen, this is urgent. The children are in danger. I need you to—"
"Show me identification or I'm not opening this door." Doc heard Catherine Brennan's sigh, then her voice, dropping all pretense.
"Fine. Let's do this the hard way."
A crash. The sound of someone hitting the bathroom door with force. Maya screaming, Wei shouting, "Get away from us!" And Doc, still 8 minutes out, completely helpless. His phone rang. Snake. 2 minutes out. I've got 4 brothers with me. Breaching in 90 seconds, whether SWAT's there or not. Do it. Doc listened to chaos over the phone. Brennan hitting the door, Wei and the children crying. Then, faintly, sirens. Brennan's voice. "Damn it." Footsteps running. The apartment door slamming. Then Snake's voice, commanding. "Catherine Brennan, get on the ground, now." A gunshot. Someone screaming. And Doc pushing 120 on the highway, praying he wasn't about to arrive at another scene where he'd failed to save someone. The phone line went dead. Doc's speedometer hit 130. His hands were white-knuckled on the wheel, his heart hammering so hard he could feel it in his throat.
8 minutes. He was still 8 minutes away. His phone rang. Snake's number. Doc answered, terrified of what he'd hear. "Doc." Snake's voice was steady, calm, the voice of a man who'd been in combat. "Brennan's down. Non-lethal shot to the shoulder. She's in custody. Children are safe." Doc's chest released. "Who fired?" "I did. She pulled a weapon when I ordered her down, had it aimed at the bathroom door. I had 0.3 seconds to make the call." Snake paused. "I made it." "The children?" "Shaken, but unharmed. Way's holding them in the bathroom. Won't come out until she sees FBI badges. Smart woman." "SWAT there yet?" "Just arrived. 6 units. Moreno's on the line screaming about jurisdiction and protocol, but Brennan's cuffed and bleeding and headed to the hospital under federal guard." Snake's voice hardened. "Doc, she was going to kill them. All 4 of them. Had a suppressed 9mm. If we'd been 30 seconds later, but you weren't. You were exactly where you needed to be." Doc heard voices in the background, FBI agents securing the scene, paramedics working on Brennan, and underneath it all, Maya crying. "Let me talk to Maya." Rustling, then Way's voice. "Mr. Holloway, she won't stop shaking. She keeps saying the bad lady came back. She keeps asking if we're really safe now." "Put her on." A pause, then Maya's voice, so small it nearly broke him. "Santa?" "I'm here, sweetheart. I'm 5 minutes away. And Maya, listen to me very carefully. The bad lady can't hurt you anymore. She's hurt, she's handcuffed, and she's going to jail for the rest of her life. Do you understand?" "But what if there are more bad people? What if they keep coming?" "Then we'll keep stopping them, every single time, because you've got 47 protectors now. You've got the FBI, you've got your grandmother and your sisters, and you've got me. And Maya, I don't break my promises anymore." Silence. Then, "When is Tommy coming home?" Doc checked his watch. 3 hours, maybe less. Hammer's team is making good time. "Will you be there when he comes?" "I'll be there. I promise." "Okay." Her voice was steadier now. "Mr. Holloway, thank you for sending Snake. He saved us." "You saved yourself, sweetheart. You're the one who woke your grandmother up. You're the one who got everyone into the bathroom. You're the bravest person I know." He hung up, pulled into Way's apartment complex 7 minutes later to find it looking like a war zone. 6 FBI vehicles, 3 SWAT trucks, 2 ambulances, news vans already setting up across the street. Snake met him at the entrance, a bandage on his left arm. "You're hit?" "Grace, Brennan got 1 shot off before I dropped her, went wide." Snake's face was grim. "Doc, she was here to eliminate witnesses. Had a suppressed weapon, a knife, and enough fentanyl to kill 20 people. She was going to make it look like Way had a psychotic break. Killed the kids, then herself. Clean, tragic, no loose ends." Doc felt his rage spike. "Where is she now?" "Memorial Hospital. Surgery for the shoulder wound. FBI's got 6 agents on her door. Moreno's there personally." Snake paused. "But Doc, before the paramedics took her, Brennan said something. She looked right at me and said, 'You think this ends with me? You think I'm the top of the chain? I'm middle management. The real Bauer you haven't even touched yet.' She's playing games, trying to make herself seem more important." "Maybe, but Wire pulled her phone records before she wiped the server. In the last 6 months, she made 47 calls to the same Maryland number, always from burner phones, never more than 90 seconds. Wire's tracing it now, but Doc, what if she's telling the truth? What if there's someone above her?" Doc's mind raced. "Did she say anything else?"
Yeah, she said, ask Gerald Pace about the foundation. Ask him who really funds Clearwater Academy. Ask him where the real money goes. Snake's jaw tightened. What foundation? I don't know, but we're about to find out. Doc pulled out his phone, called Moreno. She answered on the first ring. Marcus, before you ask, yes, I'm pissed that your team engaged Brennan before SWAT arrived. Yes, there will be an investigation. Yes, Snake will probably face questions about the shooting. But no, I'm not going to pretend I'm sorry those children are alive. Brennan mentioned a foundation, said Gerald knows about it, said it funds Clearwater Academy. Moreno was quiet for a long moment. Hold on. Doc heard her talking to someone, typing on a keyboard. Then she came back, and her voice had changed, gone cold. Marcus, I need you to sit down. I'm standing. Talk. Gerald Pace has been in federal custody for 6 hours. In that time, he's said exactly 3 words. I want immunity. We've been negotiating terms. He's willing to give us names, locations, financial records, everything. But he wants full immunity from prosecution in exchange. Absolutely not. That man murdered his wife, sold his stepchildren, enabled. I know. Believe me, I know. But Marcus, if what he's offering is real, if there really is a larger network, we might need his cooperation. Moreno paused. I just authorized preliminary immunity negotiations. In exchange, Gerald provided one piece of information, the name of the foundation. What is it? Children's Future Alliance, registered as a 501c3 nonprofit. Board of directors includes 3 state senators, 2 federal judges, a congressman, and the former director of Health and Human Services for Ohio. Moreno's voice was shaking. Marcus, this isn't just a trafficking network. It's institutionalized, government-sanctioned, protected at the highest levels. Doc felt the world tilt. How long has it been operating? Incorporated in 2008. 18 years. Moreno paused. And Marcus, their stated mission is providing alternative educational and residential placements for at-risk youth. They run 12 facilities across 7 states. Clearwater Academy in Montana is just one of them. 12 facilities. How many children? We're still calculating, but if each facility holds 20 to 30 children, and they've been operating for 18 years, Moreno stopped. We could be looking at thousands. The number was so large, Doc couldn't process it. Thousands of children. Thousands of families. 18 years of systematic trafficking protected by senators and judges and congressmen. Who founded it? That's the thing. The paperwork lists the board of directors, but there's no single founder. It's structured like a corporation. Multiple stakeholders, distributed liability. Very hard to trace back to one person. Moreno paused. But Gerald says he knows. Says the real founder, the person who started this whole operation, is someone we'd never suspect. Someone with impeccable credentials and national reach. And he'll give us the name in exchange for immunity? Yes. Tell him no. Marcus, tell him no. We don't make deals with child murderers. I don't care who he can give us. I don't care if it's the president himself. Gerald Pace rots in prison for what he did. If we don't make this deal, we might never crack the full network. Thousands of children might stay lost. Doc was silent. The impossible choice. Justice for Lin Chen, Tommy, Maya, Jade, Lily, or information that could save thousands more. His phone beeped. Text from Hammer. 30 minutes out. Tommy's asking if his sisters will recognize him. He says he doesn't look the same anymore. Doc stared at that message, thought about a 9-year-old boy who'd been beaten and burned and broken for 14 months. who was terrified his own sisters wouldn't know him.
Make the deal, Doc said quietly.
But Moreno, I want conditions. Gerald gives us everything: names, locations, financial records, every single detail. He testifies against everyone. And he doesn't walk free. Immunity from death penalty, fine. Reduced sentence, maybe. But he serves time. Real time. Understood? I'll make it work. And one more thing. When this is over, when all these children are found, and all these monsters are in prison, I want Gerald Pace to know something. I want him to know that his stepdaughter, Maya, the 7-year-old he tried to sell for $130,000, is the reason his entire network collapsed. I want him to live with that knowledge every single day for the rest of his miserable life. Deal. Doc hung up, went upstairs to Wei's apartment, found the 4 Chen children huddled together on the couch, wrapped in blankets, looking shell-shocked. Maya saw him first, jumped up, ran to him, wrapped her arms around his legs. You came. I promised I would. Doc knelt down, eye level with her. Your brother's almost here. 25 minutes. Maya's face transformed. Really? Really. Hammer just texted. They're coming up on Milford now. Jade stood up, and Doc saw the 13-year-old trying desperately to hold it together, trying to be strong for her younger sisters. But her hands were shaking. What if he doesn't remember us? What if he's too different? What if— Then you remind him. You tell him stories about before. You show him photos. You love him exactly as he is right now, and you help him find his way back. Doc stood. Jade, you've been protecting your sisters for 8 months. You don't have to do it alone anymore. Let the adults handle things for a while. You're allowed to be 13. Her face crumpled. She didn't cry, not yet, but Doc saw the cracks forming. The little girl underneath the protector. Wei approached, holding baby Lily. Mr. Holloway, what happens now? To us? Do we stay here? Do the children go into foster care? Do I have legal custody, or— Preacher's already filed emergency custody papers. You're their legal guardian as of 3 hours ago. Judge signed it based on FBI recommendation and the evidence of Gerald's crimes. Doc pulled out his phone, showed her a document. You have full custody. They're yours. They're safe. And they're staying with you. Wei's eyes filled with tears. I don't have enough space. I don't have enough money. I don't— You have 47 veterans who've pooled resources. We've got a house lined up, 3 bedrooms, paid rent for 6 months, furniture being delivered tomorrow, therapy appointments scheduled, school enrollment ready. Doc smiled. You're not doing this alone, Wei. None of you are alone anymore. His phone rang. Hammer. We're pulling into the complex now. Tommy's asking if he should wait in the car. He's scared. Bring him up, right now. 2 minutes later, Doc heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy boots. Hammer's voice, quiet and reassuring. It's okay, buddy. Just through this door. Your family's right there. The door opened. Tom Chen stood in the doorway, and Doc's heart broke. The boy was thin, too thin. Burns covered his hands and forearms. A scar ran across his left cheek. His hair had been shaved short, military style. He wore clothes 3 sizes too big, donated from the Montana team. But his eyes were the same. Scared and hopeful and desperate. Maya saw him first, whispered his name like a prayer. Tommy? Tommy's gaze locked on his sister. Maya? Then they were moving, both of them, running toward each other. Maya crashed into Tommy's arms, and he lifted her up, spinning her like he used to before everything went wrong. Both of them crying, holding each other like they'd never let go. Jade stood frozen for a moment. Then she walked forward, slower, uncertain.
Tommy, do you remember me?
Tommy set Maya down, looked at Jade. His voice cracked.
You used to read me Harry Potter before bed. You'd do all the voices. You made me laugh when I was scared.
Jade's face broke. She threw her arms around her brother, and all three of them stood there in Wei's tiny living room, holding each other and sobbing. Wei approached with Lily. The baby didn't remember Tommy. She'd been too young when he left. But Tommy looked at his baby sister, tears streaming down his face. She's gotten so big.
She's 18 months now. She's walking, talking a little.
Wei's voice shook.
She's going to know you, Tommy. We're going to make sure she knows you.
Doc stepped back, giving them space. Feldhammer moved beside him. 23 kids we pulled from that facility, Hammer said quietly. Every single one of them had that same look Tommy did. Broken, scared, waiting for the other shoe to drop. He paused. But Tommy was different. When we told him he was going home, he didn't believe us. Said people had promised that before. Said they always lied. It wasn't until he heard Maya's voice on the phone that he let himself hope. Doc watched the Chen children holding each other. Watched Wei crying while she held Lily. Watched a family that had been systematically destroyed start to piece itself back together. His phone buzzed. Wire. Doc, I traced that Maryland number Brennan kept calling. Took some work, but I cracked it. Wire's voice was shaking. It's registered to a property management company, which is owned by a consulting firm, which is owned by a holding company, which is owned by... He stopped. Doc, you need to hear this name. Tell me. Senator Elizabeth Hartwell, Ohio State Senate, 12 years. She's on the board of Children's Future Alliance. She's also the person who signed the original incorporation papers in 2008. She founded it, Doc. The entire network. 18 years, 12 facilities, thousands of children. It all traces back to her. Doc felt rage so pure it was almost calming. Where is she now? Columbus, State Capitol Building. She's in session today. In child welfare reform bills. Wire's voice dripped with disgust. She's literally voting on legislation to protect children while running a trafficking network. Does Moreno know? I just sent her everything. She's mobilizing federal marshals now. They'll arrest Hartwell within the hour. Good. What about the other board members, the judges, the congressman, the former HHS director? Working on warrants for all of them. But, Doc, it's complicated. These are powerful people with powerful connections. Arresting them is going to create political chaos. I don't care about politics. I care about children. So does Moreno. She's going scorched earth. Every board member, every facility administrator, every person who enabled this network. She's burning it all down. Doc looked at the Chen children. At Tommy, who'd survived 14 months of hell because adults in positions of power had decided children were commodities. At Maya, who'd been brave enough to whisper to a mall Santa because every official channel had failed her. At Jade, who'd gathered evidence for 8 months because the people who were supposed to protect her had looked the other way. Wire, I need you to do something for me. Name it. I need you to find every child who went through Children's Future Alliance facilities. Every name, every face, every family. I need you to build a database, and when this goes to trial, When these senators and judges try to claim ignorance or plausible deniability, I want to bury them in evidence. I want them to see every child they destroyed. Already started. I've got facial recognition software running on the Montana facility photos, cross-referencing with missing persons databases across all 50 states. Wire paused. Doc, we're up to 63 confirmed matches already, and that's just one facility. 63 children from one building. 12 buildings total. The math was staggering. Doc's phone rang again. Moreno. We've got Senator Hardwell in custody, arrested 15 minutes ago in her office. Federal marshals, U.S. attorneys present. She's lawyering up, claiming this is political persecution, threatening to call the governor. Moreno's voice was steel. I don't care who she calls. I've got 18 years of financial records showing she's been operating a child trafficking network under the guise of nonprofit youth services. She's done. What about the other board members? Simultaneous arrests in progress. Judge Patricia Morrison in Cincinnati, in custody. Congressman David Fletcher in D.C., in custody. Former HHS Director Richard Thompson in Cleveland, resisting arrest, barricaded in his home. SWAT's moving in now. Doc heard it then, in Moreno's voice. Not triumph. Exhaustion. The weight of uncovering something so massive, so systematic, so evil that it broke your faith in institutions. How many total arrests today? 17 so far. That includes Gerald, the Vances, Brennan, Hartwell, the board members, and 6 facility administrators from other Children's Future Alliance locations. Moreno paused. And, Marcus, we're just getting started. Wire's data shows connections to 34 additional individuals. Lawyers who processed fake adoptions, doctors who falsified medical records, police officers who looked the other way, social workers who closed cases without investigation. 34? That we know of so far. The number keeps growing. Moreno's voice cracked. I've been doing this job for 15 years. I thought I'd seen the worst humanity had to offer. But this is systematic evil. This is institutionalized trafficking. Protected by law, funded by taxpayers, endorsed by elected officials. How many children total? Silence. Then, Wire's still compiling numbers, but based on facility records, financial transactions, and missing persons cross-references, we're estimating approximately 840 children trafficked through this network over 18 years. 840 children. Doc couldn't speak, couldn't process, just stood there in Way's living room, watching Tommy hold his sisters, while Moreno's words echoed in his head. Marcus, you still there? Yeah, I'm here. We're going to find them, every single one. We're going to bring them home. But Marcus, this is going to take months, maybe years. Some of these children have been gone for a decade. Some don't remember their real names. Some have been conditioned to believe their traffickers are their real families. Then we take months. We take years. We don't stop until every child is found. Agreed. Moreno paused. And Marcus, what you did, calling me about Maya, mobilizing your team, refusing to wait for official channels. You saved lives. Plural. If you'd filed a report and waited for the system to investigate, Maya would have been sold. Tommy would still be in Montana. Brennan's network would still be operating. You broke the rules, and you saved 840 children. I didn't save them. Maya saved them. She was brave enough to ask for help. And you were smart enough to listen. That matters. Doc hung up, turned to find Tommy watching him. Mr. Holloway? Snake told me you're the Santa from last year. The one I told about the bad people. Doc knelt down. Yeah, buddy, that was me.
You didn't believe me then?
The accusation was quiet. Not angry, just factual. A statement of truth. You're right. I didn't. I heard you say you were scared, and I told you to talk to your parents. I didn't ask follow-up questions. I didn't pay attention. And because I failed you, you spent 14 months in a place that hurt you. Doc met Tommy's eyes. I can't change that. I can't give you those months back, but I can promise you something. I can promise that I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure no other child goes through what you went through. That's not an apology. That's a blood oath. Tommy stared at him for a long moment, then quietly, Maya says you kept your promise this time. She says you saved us. Your sisters saved themselves. They were brave and smart and strong. All I did was listen when Maya asked for help.
Then why didn't you listen when I asked?
The question hung in the air. Maya and Jade stopped talking, listening. Wei held Lily tighter. Hammer shifted uncomfortably. Doc took a breath. Because a year ago, my wife had just died. She was a firefighter, saved 3 kids from a burning bus, and died doing it. And I was so buried in grief, so angry at the world, that I couldn't see past my own pain. So when you sat on my lap and told me you were scared, I heard the words, but I didn't really listen. I was too broken to pay attention. And now? Now I understand something my wife tried to teach me. Pain doesn't excuse failure. Grief doesn't justify looking away. And my responsibility to protect children doesn't end just because I'm hurting. Doc paused. I failed you, Tommy. That's the truth. I own that. And I'm going to carry that failure for the rest of my life. But I'm also going to make sure it means something. I'm going to make sure every child who asks for help gets heard. Tommy was quiet for a long time. Then he did something that broke Doc completely. He stepped forward and hugged him. Thank you for saving my sisters. Even if you couldn't save me then, thank you for saving them now. Doc held this broken, brave 9-year-old and felt something inside himself crack open. All the guilt he'd been carrying, all the rage and grief and pain. It didn't disappear, would never disappear. But it transformed into something else. Purpose. Determination. A reason to keep fighting. His phone buzzed. Wire. Doc, the Coulters just got arrested. Connecticut FBI raided their house 20 minutes ago. Found evidence of 3 purchased children over 4 years. But here's the thing. They're claiming they were victims too. Saying they were told these were legal private adoptions. Saying they had no idea it was trafficking. They paid $150,000 in cash through encrypted channels. They knew. I know, but their lawyer's already building a defense, claiming they're just wealthy people who wanted children and got deceived by a sophisticated criminal network. Wire paused. Doc, they might walk. Not if we have testimony from the children they bought. Not if we have financial records showing they knew it was illegal. Not if we have all that. But their lawyers claiming the children are unreliable witnesses because they've been traumatized. Claiming the financial records could be explained as naivete. It's bullshit, but it might work. Doc looked at Tommy, at the scars on his hands, at the fear still visible in his eyes despite being home. Then we make sure it doesn't work. We find every piece of evidence, every communication, every transaction. We build a case so airtight that no lawyer in the world can get them off. On it. Doc hung up, turned to find Jade watching him.
Mr. Holloway, when this goes to trial, can I testify? Against Gerald? Against the Vances? Against everyone?
Jade, you're 13. Testifying means reliving everything, means facing these people in court, means having lawyers try to discredit you and—
I know. I want to do it anyway.
Her voice was steel.
I want Gerald to see my face. I want him to know that the stupid kid he underestimated took him down. I want everyone who helped him to know that we won.
Doc looked at this 13-year-old who'd been forced to grow up too fast, who'd lost her mother, lost her brother, nearly lost her sisters, who'd spent 8 months gathering evidence and protecting her family with nothing but her own courage and a hidden smartwatch.
Okay, when the time comes, you testify. But Jade, you're not doing it alone. You'll have support, victim advocates, counselors, your family, and me. Every single step. Promise? Promise.
His phone rang. Moreno again. Marcus, we just got word from the Montana facility. The 23 children we rescued are being processed through family reunification protocols. But we've got a problem. 6 of them have been missing for more than 5 years. Their families have moved, changed names, given up hope. And 2 of them— Moreno's voice broke. 2 of them don't have families to go back to. Parents died while they were in the facility. No relatives found.
Then we find them homes. Safe ones. Real ones.
I'm working on it. But Marcus, this is going to be complicated. Foster care, adoption processes, legal guardianship. These kids have been traumatized for years. They need specialized care. Whatever they need, we provide it. Money, resources, time. We don't stop fighting for them just because they're rescued.
Agreed.
A pause. And Marcus, thank you for not giving up, for being too stubborn to let the system fail these kids. Thank you for backing me up, for moving fast when it counted. He hung up, looked around Wei's apartment, at the Chen children finally together again, at the evidence of a family learning to heal, at the beginning of something that would take years to fully resolve. But they'd started. That's what mattered. They'd listened when a 7-year-old whispered for help. They'd moved when a 13-year-old provided evidence. They'd fought when every official channel had failed. And 840 children were coming home because of it. Doc's phone buzzed one final time. Text from Snake. News just broke. Senator Hardwell's arrest is leading every channel. The words child trafficking network are trending nationally. This is going to be the biggest scandal in decades. Doc looked at Maya, who'd fallen asleep on the couch, still holding Tommy's hand. Looked at Jade, watching over her siblings with fierce protectiveness. Looked at baby Lily, too young to understand, but safe nonetheless. Looked at Tommy, home at last, surrounded by family. And Doc understood something fundamental. This wasn't about scandals, or headlines, or political chaos. This was about children who'd been treated as commodities, finding their way back to being loved. About families that had been destroyed, learning to rebuild. About a system that had failed, learning to do better. The news could call it whatever they wanted, but to Doc, it was simple. A 7-year-old had asked Santa for help. 6 months later, Maya Chen stood outside Courtroom 4B in the Federal District Court of Ohio, wearing a purple dress her grandmother had bought her for this exact moment. Her hands trembled, but she wasn't running. Not anymore. Doc knelt beside her. You don't have to do this, sweetheart. You've already given your deposition. The prosecutors have everything they need. But I want Gerald to see me. I want him to know I'm not scared anymore. Maya looked up, and Doc saw something in her eyes that hadn't been there 6 months ago. Strength. He told me I was weak, that nobody would believe me because I was just a kid. I want him to be wrong. The courtroom doors opened. Jade emerged, face pale but composed. She'd just finished 2 hours of testimony against Gerald Pace, detailing 8 months of systematic abuse and the night their mother died. "Your turn," Jade said to Maya. "He tried to stare me down the whole time. Don't let him." Maya squeezed her sister's hand. "Did you cry?" "Yeah, but I didn't stop talking. That's what matters." Doc watched the two sisters, these impossibly brave children who'd survived what would break most adults, and felt that familiar ache in his chest, the one that showed up every time he remembered failing Tommy last Christmas. "Maya Chen," the bailiff called. "You're up." Maya walked into that courtroom with her head high. Doc followed, sitting in the gallery beside Wei, Tommy, and 47 veterans who'd taken the day off to support her, to show Gerald Pace that this child had an army behind her now. Gerald sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, wrists shackled, looking 20 years older than he had 6 months ago. When Maya entered, his face twisted into something that might have been regret, or might have been rage. With men like Gerald, it was hard to tell the difference. The prosecutor, a woman named Sarah Bennett, no relation to Doc's late wife, but the name still hit him every time, stood. "Maya, can you tell the court who you are?" "My name is Maya Rose Chen. I'm 7 years old. I live with my grandmother, Wei Chen, and my brother and sisters." Her voice was clear, steady. "And that man tried to sell me for $130,000. Gerald's lawyer shot to his feet. "Objection, Your Honor! The witness is overruled." Judge Patricia Hendress, 61 years on the bench, looked at Gerald with open disgust. "The witness will continue." Maya told her story, every detail. The recordings she'd made, the fear she'd lived with. The night broker Kay had tried to kill them all. And through it all, Gerald stared at her with eyes that promised revenge. But Maya didn't flinch, not once. When she finished, the prosecutor asked one final question. "Maya, why did you tell Santa? Why not a teacher, or a police officer, or another adult?" Maya's answer stopped the courtroom cold. "Because I tried telling adults. I told my teacher, Mr. Harrison, about the bruises. He said accidents happen. I told the school nurse about being hungry. She said I was probably going through a growth spurt. I told Officer Daniels that Tommy was scared before he disappeared. He said kids imagine things." She looked directly at Gerald. "But when I told Santa, he listened. He believed me. And he did something." The courtroom erupted, reporters typing frantically, victims' families crying, and Gerald Pace, finally understanding that his 7-year-old stepdaughter had destroyed him. Outside the courtroom 3 hours later, Doc's phone rang. Wire. "Doc, we found another facility, number 13. Wasn't on Hartwell's official books, but financial records show shell company payments going to a property in West Virginia." Wire's voice was tight. "FBI's raiding it right now. Early reports say there are 31 children inside, ages 6 to 15. Doc closed his eyes. 31? Confirmed. And Doc, this facility was different. Not labor trafficking. Something worse. Wire paused. Adoption mill. They were conditioning children to forget their real families, then selling them to wealthy couples who wanted kids but didn't want to go through legal channels. Wire found records showing 73 successful placements over 6 years. 73 children who don't remember their real names. Yeah, FBI's starting the identification process now, but Doc, some of these kids have been gone for 8 years. Some were taken as infants. They don't know they were stolen. Doc thought of Tommy, who'd spent weeks after coming home having nightmares that Way was going to send him back to Montana, who flinched every time someone in authority spoke to him, who'd lost 14 months of his childhood and would spend years trying to get them back. And these 73 children had lost even more. Their identities, their families, their entire lives. Get me a list. Every name, every face. We're finding their families. Already on it. Doc hung up, turned to find Tommy standing behind him, holding Lily's hand. The 9-year-old had grown 3 inches in 6 months, gained 12 pounds, started smiling again. But the scars on his hands remained. The nightmares remained. The trauma remained.
Mr. Holloway, can I ask you something?
Always, buddy.
Do you think the kids from the other facilities feel like I did? Like nobody's coming for them?
Doc's throat tightened. Yeah, I think they probably do.
Then we should tell them. We should tell them that people are looking, that someone cares.
Tommy's voice was quiet but determined.
Because when I was in Montana, the thing that hurt the most wasn't the work or the burns or the beatings. It was thinking nobody remembered me. Thinking I'd been forgotten.
Doc knelt down. You were never forgotten, Tommy. Your sisters remembered you every single day. Your grandmother never stopped looking. And when Maya told me about you, I made it my mission to bring you home.
I know that now, but I didn't know it then.
Tommy looked up. So maybe we could make a video or something, for the other kids still out there, to tell them they're not forgotten. Doc pulled out his phone, called Wire. How many of the 840 children have we found so far? As of this morning, 612 confirmed locations, 228 still missing. Wire, I need you to do something. Create a website. Put photos of all 228 missing children. Include their real names, their last known locations, their family's contact information. Make it searchable. Make it shareable. Make it impossible to ignore. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that somewhere there's a child who was taken years ago, who's been conditioned to forget their real family, who might see their own face on that website and remember. I'm thinking there are people out there who might recognize a missing child. I'm thinking we make it so loud, so public, so unavoidable, that these children can't stay hidden. On it. I'll have it live within 24 hours. Doc hung up, looked at Tommy. You just gave 228 kids hope. That's pretty incredible for a 9-year-old. Tommy didn't smile, but something in his face softened.
Maya says you tell her that she saved herself, that you just listened. Is that true?
Completely true.
Then I didn't give them hope. I'm just telling people to listen. The kids will save themselves.
Doc felt his eyes burn. This kid, this impossibly wise, impossibly damaged, impossibly strong kid, who understood something most adults never learned. His phone buzzed. Moreno.
Marcus, we have a problem. Gerald's lawyer just filed a motion to suppress Maya and Jade's testimonies, claiming they're unreliable witnesses due to trauma, that we coached them, that their ages make them susceptible to suggestion.
That's garbage and you know it. I know it. But the judge has to consider the motion. If it's granted, we lose our strongest evidence against Gerald for the murders and trafficking conspiracy. We'd still have him on financial crimes, but he might walk on the serious charges. Doc's vision went red. When's the hearing? Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. I'll be there. He hung up, turns to find Jade watching him, face carefully neutral.
They're saying we lied, aren't they? Doc had learned in 6 months not to sugarcoat things with Jade. She was too smart, had survived too much. Lies, even kind ones, broke her trust. They're saying you might be unreliable because you've been traumatized, that we might have influenced your testimony. Jade's face went cold. I recorded my stepfather murdering my mother. I gathered evidence for 8 months. I protected my sisters when every adult around me failed. And now they're saying I'm unreliable? That's what defense lawyers do. They attack credibility because they can't attack facts. Then we give them more facts. Jade pulled out her phone. I've been keeping a journal. Every night since Mom died. Everything Gerald did. Everything I saw. Everything I felt. Dates, times, witnesses. 8 months of documentation. Jade, that's incredible. But hearsay rules might prevent. It's not hearsay if it's my personal record. It's evidence of consistent reporting. It shows I didn't make this up or get coached. It shows I've been telling the same story since November 3rd of last year. Jade's voice was steel. And if the judge won't admit it, I'll read it out loud in the courtroom. I'll make sure everyone hears what Gerald did. Doc looked at this 13-year-old who'd been forced to become an investigator, a protector, a warrior, who'd lost her childhood gathering evidence against a monster, who refused to let that evidence be dismissed. Okay, we submit the journal. But Jade, this means more testimony, more cross-examination, more lawyers trying to break you. Let them try. The hearing the next morning was brutal. Gerald's lawyer, a man named Marcus Rothstein, who charged $400 an hour to defend predators, went after Jade like she was the criminal. Miss Chen, isn't it true that you've been receiving therapy for trauma-related disorders?
Yes.
And isn't it true that trauma can affect memory, create false memories, cause confusion about timelines?
My therapist says trauma makes memories sharper, not foggier. I remember everything.
But you were only 12 years old when these alleged events occurred. A child. How can we trust?
I was 12 when I watched my stepfather and Dr. Vance murder my mother through a floor vent. I was 12 when I started recording evidence. I was 13 when I gathered enough proof to bring down a trafficking network that had been operating for 18 years under the noses of senators and judges and police officers.
Jade's voice cut like glass. If being young makes me unreliable, what does that say about all the adults who missed what I saw? The courtroom went silent. Rothstein tried again. Miss Chen, have you discussed your testimony with the prosecutors?
Yes. They told me to tell the truth. So I am.
And did they tell you what to say?
They told me to describe what I saw. I saw Gerald kill my mother. I saw him plan to sell my sisters. I recorded it all. Those are facts, Mr. Rothstein. You can't cross-examine facts.
Judge Hendress leaned forward. Mr. Rothstein, do you have any questions that don't insult this witness's intelligence? Your Honor, I'm simply trying to establish you're trying to discredit a child who showed more courage and competence than most adults ever will. Motion denied. The testimonies stand. Gerald's face went white. His last hope of avoiding the murder charges had just evaporated. The trial lasted 4 weeks. 17 witnesses testified against Gerald Pace. Jade's testimony about the murder, Maya's testimony about the trafficking attempt, Tommy's testimony via video link about conditions in the Montana facility, Officer Daniels admitting he'd taken bribes, the school counselor admitting she'd ignored warning signs, Dr. Patricia Vance's husband Raymond breaking down and confessing to falsifying death certificates for 3 victims, including Lynn Chen. But the testimony that destroyed Gerald completely came from someone unexpected: his own mother.
Judith Pace, 70 years old, took the stand on day 19 of the trial. Gerald's lawyer tried to have her testimony excluded, claiming elderly confusion, but Judith was sharp as broken glass when she spoke. My son became a monster, and I enabled him. I knew something was wrong when Lynn died. I knew Tommy didn't run away. I knew those adoption papers looked suspicious. But I told myself my son would never hurt children. I told myself he was a good man, a principal, a pillar of the community. Judith's voice broke. I chose my comfort over my grandchildren's safety. I chose denial over truth. And because of that, Tommy was tortured for 14 months. Maya nearly got sold. Jade had to become an investigator at age 12 because the adults in her life, including me, failed her. She looked at Gerald with eyes full of grief and rage. I love my son, but I love justice more, and those children deserve justice. Gerald tried to speak, tried to maintain his mask of wronged innocence, but watching his own mother testify against him broke something. His shoulders slumped, his face crumpled, and for the first time since his arrest, he looked like what he truly was. A broken man who destroyed lives for money. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. First-degree murder of Lynn Chen, conspiracy to commit human trafficking, attempted sale of minors, child endangerment, fraud. Obstruction of justice. Judge Hendris delivered the sentence without emotion. Mr. Pace, you were given a position of trust as an educator and stepfather. You used that trust to systematically destroy a family for financial gain. You murdered your wife. You sold one stepchild and attempted to sell 2 more. You enabled a trafficking network that destroyed hundreds of lives. This court sentences you to life in prison without possibility of parole for the murder conviction. An additional 40 years for trafficking conspiracy. 20 years for fraud. Sentences to run consecutively. You will die in prison, Mr. Pace, and you will do so knowing that a 7-year-old girl outsmarted you. Gerald was led away in shackles. As he passed the gallery, he looked at Maya one last time. And Maya, 7 years old and braver than any adult in that room, stared back without flinching. The other trials followed in quick succession. Senator Elizabeth Hartwell got 3 consecutive life sentences plus 80 years. The board members of Children's Future Alliance each got sentences ranging from 40 to 90 years. Dr. Patricia Vance got 60 years. Her husband, Raymond, got 2 life sentences for the murders he'd helped cover up. Catherine Brennan, Broker Kay herself, got life plus 730 years on 34 counts of trafficking. And Officer Daniels, the cop who'd taken $5,000 to close Tommy's case, got 18 years. At his sentencing, he looked directly at Tommy and said, "I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry." Tommy's response was quiet, but cut deep. You should have been sorry when you took the money. Not now. Not when you got caught. 8 months after Maya first sat on Santa's lap, Doc stood in the parking lot of his motorcycle shop, looking at a transformed building. The veterans had turned it into something more than a repair shop. It was a resource center now. Therapy offices, legal aid consultation, family reunification services, a command center for finding the 228 children still missing. Wire approached, laptop under his arm. "Doc, the website's had 4 million hits in the last month. We've received 862 tips. 43 of them led to confirmed identifications.
43 children found?
43 children who saw their own faces and remembered, or family members who recognized photos, or neighbors who got suspicious. Wire's voice shook.
Doc, one of them was my niece. Some woman in Nevada saw Melissa's photo, recognized her from the grocery store, called the tip line. FBI picked her up yesterday. She's coming home.
Doc grabbed Wire's shoulder.
That's incredible. 3 years. 3 years, I thought she was gone forever.
And she was 20 miles from her real family the whole time, living with people who'd bought her and convinced her she was their biological daughter. Wire's face hardened.
But she saw her photo, remembered her real name, remembered me.
How many still missing?
185. But Doc, we're going to find them. Every single one. Doc's phone rang. Maya.
Mr. Holloway, are you coming to the thing tonight?
The thing was a gathering at Way's new house. The veterans had pooled resources, found a 4-bedroom place with a yard, paid first and last month's rent. Tonight was the housewarming party.
I'll be there, sweetheart.
7 o'clock?
Yes, and Mr. Holloway? Tommy wants to say something. To everyone. He's been practicing all week.
Doc's chest tightened.
What's he going to say?
He won't tell me. Says it's important.
Maya paused.
Are you proud of us? For testifying and helping find the other kids?
Maya, I'm so proud of you I don't have words for it.
Good, because Grandma Way says we're getting an award from the FBI for helping break the case.
That's incredible.
Yeah, but Mr. Holloway, I don't want an award. I just want the other kids to come home. Is that weird?
That's not weird. That's exactly right.
He hung up. Spent the rest of the day working on cases. By 7 p.m., when he pulled up to Way's house, the place was packed. 47 veterans and their families. FBI agent Moreno, Preacher and his daughter, Hammer and his adopted son Marcus, Snake and his granddaughter he'd thought lost forever. And in the center of it all, the Chen family. Way cooking enough food to feed an army. Baby Lily toddling around giggling. Jade helping in the kitchen with the fierce competence of someone twice her age. Maya playing with the other children, smiling in a way she hadn't smiled in years. And Tommy standing on a chair in the living room, waiting for everyone to quiet down. When the room settled, he spoke.
His voice was soft but steady. I'm Tommy Chen. I'm 9 years old. A year and a half ago, I was taken to a place in Montana and forced to work in a factory for 14 months. I got burned. I got beaten. I got told every day that I was worthless and nobody was looking for me. He paused. But I was wrong. People were looking. My sisters never stopped fighting for me. My grandmother never gave up. And a Santa named Doc and his brothers decided I mattered enough to save.
The room was silent. There are still 185 kids out there who feel like I did, who think they're worthless, who think nobody's coming. And I want to say something to them in case they see this. Tommy looked directly at the camera Wire was holding. You're not forgotten. You're not worthless. And people are looking for you. Real people who care. People like Doc and Snake and Wire and Hammer and all these veterans who decided that every kid deserves to come home. He held up a photo. His own missing persons poster from 18 months ago. This was me. And now I'm here. Because someone listened when my sister asked for help.
because someone cared enough to fight.
Tommy's voice strengthened.
If you're out there, if you're scared, if you think nobody's coming, hold on. We're looking, we're fighting, and we're not stopping until you're home. The room erupted. 47 veterans standing, applauding, crying. Maya running to hug her brother, Jade joining them, Wei holding Lily and weeping with pride. And Doc, standing in the back, felt Sarah's presence so strongly it almost knocked him down. His wife, who'd died saving children, who'd made him promise to never stop being the good guy, who'd believed that every life mattered. "We did it, Sarah," he whispered. "We saved them." But the voice in his head, maybe his imagination, maybe something more, replied, "They saved themselves. You just listened." 3 months later, the number dropped to 91 missing,
Then 63, then 42. Each identification was a miracle. Each reunion was a war won. The legislation came next. Tommy's Law, named after Tommy Chen, passed unanimously in both houses. Mandatory trafficking awareness training for all educators, CPS caseload caps, whistleblower protections, enhanced penalties for anyone in a position of authority who enabled trafficking. Maya's Voice program launched nationally, a curriculum teaching children that their words matter, that adults should listen, that reporting abuse is brave. And the Chen children? They healed, slowly, imperfectly, but they healed. Tommy started sleeping through the night, started trusting adults again, started talking about maybe becoming a prosecutor when he grew up. To protect kids like us, he said. Jade got accepted to MIT with a full scholarship, started a nonprofit teaching teens digital forensics for trafficking investigations, Trained 847 young people in evidence gathering. Maya became the face of child advocacy, testified before Congress, spoke at schools, told her story again and again, always ending with the same message.
If the first person doesn't listen, find someone who will. Your voice matters.
And baby Lily, too young to remember the night broker Kay tried to kill her, grew up surrounded by love and protection, and 47 uncles in leather vests who'd die before they'd let anyone hurt her. 2 years after that December night when Maya sat on Santa's lap, Doc returned to the mall. They'd asked him to play Santa again. He'd said no for 2 years running, but this year, Maya had asked him personally.
"Please, Mr. Holloway, there might be another kid who needs help, another kid who's too scared to tell anyone else. You have to be there."
So he was there. Red suit, white beard, candy canes at the ready. And at 4:23 p.m. on December 22nd, exactly 2 years after Maya had changed his life, a little boy climbed onto his lap. "What's your name, buddy?"
"Ethan. I'm 6.
"What would you like for Christmas, Ethan?" The boy hesitated, looked back at the man standing nearby, scrolling through his phone, looked back at Doc, whispered,
"Santa, my mom says we're moving to a new house after Christmas, but I heard her crying. She said a man is making her give me away. I don't want to go away, Santa. I want to stay with my mom."
Doc's heart stopped, then started again, harder. "Ethan, I need you to do something very brave for me. Can you do that?" The boy nodded. "I need you to tell me everything, and I promise you, I'm going to listen." Because that's what Doc did now. He listened, he believed, he acted. And he never, ever
let another child disappear into silence. The number of missing children from the Children's Future Alliance network hit 0 on March 15th, 3 years after Maya first asked for help. The last child, a 14-year-old girl named Emma who'd been taken at age 6, was found living with a family in Alaska who'd bought her through the network. She saw her own face on Wire's website, remembered her real name, called the tip line. Her reunion with her biological mother made national news. But to Doc, it was just one more promise kept, one more child home, one more family whole again. He stood in his shop that night, looking at the wall they'd created. 840 photos, 840 children, all of them found, all of them safe. His phone rang. Maya, now 9 years old.
Mr. Holloway, did you see? They found Emma. That's all of them, right? Everyone's home?
Everyone from the Children's Future Alliance network, yes.
But there are still other kids missing, from other networks, right?
Yeah, sweetheart, there are.
Then we keep looking. We keep listening. We keep fighting.
Doc smiled. Yeah, we keep fighting.
Good. Because Tommy says there are 23 million people in trafficking worldwide, and if we saved 840, we can save more. Maya, you're 9 years old. You don't have to save the world. Maybe not the whole world. But I can save the kids who ask for help.
Her voice was fierce.
Because someone listened when I asked, and now I'm going to listen when they ask.
Doc hung up and looked at the photo on his desk. Sarah, in her firefighter uniform, smiling, holding the medal she'd received for saving those 3 kids from the bus fire. The same fire that had killed her. She's going to change the world, Sarah. That little girl who asked Santa for help. She's going to make sure every child gets heard. And somewhere, maybe in memory or maybe in something beyond, Doc felt Sarah smile, because that's what happened when you listened, when you believed, when you acted. You saved lives. You changed futures. You gave hope to the hopeless and voice to the voiceless. And sometimes, if you were very lucky, you got to watch a 7-year-old who'd been scheduled for sale grow into a 9-year-old who fought for others. That was Maya's gift to the world, not her survival, her voice. And Doc's gift? Learning to listen. 3 years, 840 children, and one whispered plea to a mall Santa had brought down a trafficking network that had operated for 18 years, had put senators and judges and doctors in prison for life, had changed laws and systems and protocols across the country. But more than that, it had proven something fundamental, something every child needed to know. Your voice matters, even when it's small, even when it's scared, even when the first 10 people don't listen. The 11th might. And that 11th person might just be someone dressed as Santa, carrying the weight of his own failures, looking for redemption, looking for one more chance to keep his promise, to be the good guy, to save the child he'd failed to save before. Maya Chen asked for help, and someone finally listened. That's not just a story. That's a revolution. And it started with 3 words every child deserves to hear when they find the courage to speak. I believe you.